Everybody, my name is Professor Peter. I'm the Associate Dean in the School of Social Sciences in charge of International Affairs and the Academic Regional Lead for Africa at the University of Dundee. It's a great, I'm delighted to be able to speak to you this afternoon and to have the third of our webinars for our law applicants who are coming to study with us next session. I've been a professor of law at Dundee Law School for the last 15 years. And one of the most important things that we try and embody within our master's programs is employability. And the focus of today's webinar is on that. So I'm delighted to welcome Stephen Watt from our Careers Service. The Careers Service has a central role for all of our students at the University of Dundee, and we give lots of specific advice about internships after the degree and employment opportunities, lots of advice on preparing application forms and interview technique. So we're going to be hearing from Stephen, and we're also going to be hearing from one of our alumni, Chidima, who is from Nigeria and has been working in Geneva at the United Nations. And so we have a question and answer session with her. Hi, Chidima. After we've heard from Stephen. So let me pass first to Amy, who is our engagement officer responsible for the law program. So Amy, would you like to introduce yourself, and then we'll go to Stephen after you.
Thank you very much, Peter, and thank you all for joining our session today. So my name is Amy Walker. I work as part of the international engagement team here at the University of Dundee with my colleagues Laurie, Libby and Dan. Myself, along with my colleagues, are here to support you throughout the entire admissions process. So if you have any questions at all about your next admission steps, about maybe applying for accommodation, even what the city of Dundee is like, then please do not hesitate to contact your engagement officer. You will have your own personal point of contact depending on where you have applied from in the world. So I will send you more details with the recording of this session as to who your engagement officer is in case you're not sure. But we are here to provide support and guidance. Thank you. Stephen, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Amy. Thanks very much. I'm just going to share my screen, hopefully, and bring up some slides. So hopefully everyone can see these. Everyone see that okay, Peter, Amy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
Great. Okay, so can you just confirm you can see the slides? Because I've just got my screen shared there.
No.
No slides?
No.
Oh dear, right, okay. Let me just end that just now. Share screen, share.
Fantastic, we're getting there.
Yeah, no, sorry, I hadn't pressed share, that's why. Everyone see that now?
Yep.
Apologies about that. Sorry, my first time actually presenting on Zoom, which is so I've used so many different formats, but not Zoom. So there we go, learning as we go along. So thanks for inviting me along this afternoon. My name is Stephen Watt, and I am one of the careers advisors at the University of Dundee Career Service. And a large part of my job is specifically working with students within the law school. This is our building at the University of Dundee. As you can see, bright blue skies and sunshine in the background, as you know, part of Dundee being Scotland's sunniest city. And what I want to do is take a bit of time, just a few minutes, to tell you about how the Career Service can work with you, help and support you throughout your time at Dundee and beyond. So just starting off with a little bit about ourselves, who are the Career Service? Well, we're a team of trained careers and employability specialists, professionals at the university whose main job is to help and support your career management and the career development of all our students, staff and graduates. And I just want to reiterate the point that we're here to work with you while you're at university, but also beyond as well. You have lifetime access to the Career Service as a University of Dundee graduate. So in what way can we help you? Well, first of all, we can work with you in a one-to-one capacity. Why might you want to do that? Well, firstly, you know, you'll all be coming to do a master's a postgraduate degree for various reasons. Some of you may have a very clear idea of your options and your career path after your degree. Others maybe have different ideas or not quite sure how to go. Some of you may not have any ideas at the moment about how you want to progress beyond university. And a large part of our job as trained career guidance and career counsellors is to work with you to really help you think about options and discuss those with us, and to help you make confident, informed decisions about your future. And that's certainly something that we can work with you over your time at university and beyond. It may be a more practical application. You've got an application for a job coming up that you would like your CV or cover letter reviewed, or perhaps an application form reviewed, or perhaps it's a different stage of the application process, the recruitment process, later down the line, where you may have assessment centres, psychometric testing you have to do, perhaps interviews, different styles of interview, video interviewing, one-to-one interviewing, and we're here to help you with that side of things as well. Some of you may know where you're wanting to go, but need a little bit of help with your job searching strategy, whether that's where to look to apply for internships or jobs, or about networking and potentially applying in a more speculative fashion. And really, just altogether, anything that's about your career or employability, we're here to speak to on a one-to-one basis. And there's various ways that we can help you there. You can book a 30-minute one-to-one advice and guidance appointment with me, where you can obviously discuss at length, and you can have as many of these over the course of your time at university as you want. Or there may be occasions where you just have a quick question you want answered, or maybe you'd like your CV quickly reviewed, or maybe you wake up in the morning and you've got a career-related question that comes into your head. And to do that, we run a drop-in service called Quick Queries. Now, in times where we're back on campus, that will enable you to just drop into the service between 11 and 3, and you'll be able to speak to an advisor. At the moment, we're still offering this as a bookable drop-in service, where we will offer you a 15-minute appointment with an advisor to have a quick query and discuss your career-related questions. So a couple of ways we can work with you one-to-one there. In addition to that, we offer online support as well. So if there are any career-related questions you have, or perhaps you've got a CV or an application, personal statement, anything really that you want to send to us, you can do that through our online management portal called Careers Portal, and we will get back to you as soon as we can in an online capacity. And Peter mentioned interviews there as well, and obviously there will likely be a point in time where you have an interview coming up that you would like to prepare for, or you may just want to hone your interview technique, and there's various ways we can help you with that while you're at Dundee. You can book a mock interview practice session with me, where we will book out an hour. We will run through the interview with you, give you a practice at some of the types of question you may get asked, and then I'll provide feedback for you on your performance. What have you done well? Where might you want to develop for the future? You might find that as we go through time, video interviewing is becoming more and more common, recorded video interviews especially. And we have a resource on our website called Interview Stream, where as a Dundee University student, you can log on with your university login details, and you can access a whole host of different recorded interviews and record yourself doing them. This is great practice for interviewing generally, but especially great practice for interviewing for recorded interviews as well. And that's something you can access at any time. And all the information about this is on our website, and I'd encourage you to have a quick look over our website there. There's some really good careers advice and information on there. We host our job shop within there as well. So when you come to university, we host our own job searching portal. And we've got information about the Dundee Plus Award, which I'm going to come on to in a second. You can book appointments through this. And we also host a number of events throughout the year as well that may be of interest to you, where there'll be maybe bringing employers onto session and doing workshops and skill sessions. And there's also sessions that we deliver as well in terms of employability related workshops that will be accessible to you as a student. I just want to mention here as well, actually, that on the website, we've also got a resource called Going Global, which is a resource where you can tap into employability and careers related information from countries across the world. So if you're looking at a global postgraduate opportunity, you can find out about what that part of the world looks for in terms of CVs, the recruitment process, and also what it's like in terms of the types of job you can get in that area as well. So really useful resource for thinking about your careers in a global fashion. I mentioned the Dundee Plus Awards there, which is an opportunity for you to get involved with an awards, skills awards while you're at Dundee, and get recognition for all the things that you're doing outside of your study, whether that's work, volunteering, extracurricular activities. And there's various strands to our Dundee Plus Awards. And getting this not only gets you recognition, but it's a great thing to put on your CV, and it's a great way to practice how to sell your skills to employers as well. So the various strands include your Dundee Plus, which is our main program. It's an all-encompassing skills award, but then more specific programs that we offer as well, including Global Plus, which is an opportunity to get recognition for the skills you've developed while you've maybe been working or studying in another country. To develop your leadership skills, we offer the Leadership Plus program. For those who are maybe interested in business-related activities, we will offer a Business Plus award program. And some of you might get involved in volunteering while you're at university, and we like to give recognition for those of you who are doing that through our Volunteer Plus program. We've also got things like Public Engagement Plus as well. And if you want to find out more about this, I'd look on our website, as I say, at dundee.ac.uk/careers to find out more about what this involves and how this might be able to help you in terms of your employability. Final mention is for our colleagues actually in the Centre of Entrepreneurship, who we work with very closely. And I just want to point out that there are various competitions you can get involved in through the Centre for Entrepreneurship that will help you develop your enterprise skills, develop your entrepreneurial mindset, learn about business, and certainly things that can help boost your employability going into postgraduate jobs. The one I'd particularly like to mention is the Enterprise Challenge, in which case, in which you can come together as a group to develop a new business idea. You get training around this, and at the end, you will take your business idea, produce a business plan. You'll be shown how to do this. And then at the end of the challenge, there is a pitch to a panel about your particular new business idea. So that's a great way to boost your employability and get an award for it at the end, potentially. Other things they do are things like the venture competition, which takes that a little bit further and actually has seed funding at the end of it. And every year there's Entrepreneurship Week, where there's a series of events around entrepreneurship and enterprise. So great, lots of opportunities to get involved at the Centre of Entrepreneurship as well. So that's just a brief run through of the sort of things that we offer. I'd happily take any questions later. And if you do want to email me, my email is s.watt@dundee.ac.uk, and I would be happy to answer any questions if you have them. So thank you very much.
Great, Stephen. Thank you so much. That's really, really informative. Just to confirm that the advice offered by you and colleagues in the Career Service, that's open to our graduates as well as our current students.
It is, yeah. So we have a lifetime access for graduates as well. So even if once you leave university, you can come back to us at any point after you graduate as well. So we're there for a lifetime.
That's fantastic. And could you say a few words about what are the greatest challenges that our students and graduates are facing today in this time of COVID when it comes to sort of putting themselves in the best possible position to advance their careers?
I suppose COVID has had an effect in many ways, in terms of certainly the global effect, being able to travel around. A lot of our students have always looked to work internationally. There's at the moment that is more difficult. In terms of putting yourself out there, there is an element of increased competition, perhaps. I think overall we've seen big companies, large companies especially, have continued to recruit. So I think the message out there is it's still quite positive. Fresh talent is needed by companies, and that is still occurring. Yes, you have to put yourself out. You're going to have to stand out really amongst the crowd. So it's about what can you do to make yourself stand out against some of your competitors in that field. So whether that is, doing a highly valued master's, perhaps, whether it's having really good work experience, or in a lot of cases, what we hear from employers is how you sell that. So a lot of our students have a lot of things to sell themselves with, to market themselves with. And that's how we can maybe come in and help a little bit. How can we help you stand out from the crowd by really putting together a good CV, marketing yourself effectively in an application or an interview? And I think really, if you can build up enough experience in terms of your education, your work experience, volunteering is always useful as well. And as I said, getting involved in things like the Enterprise Challenge as well. These sort of activities show that you are willing to take on new challenges, build experience in different areas. And I think that's the key, really. Getting involved and building up as much experience as possible can only make you stand out in the long run.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Stephen. And just one final question from me. How has the Career Service adapted the way in which it engages with students at this time when we're learning remotely?
To be honest, it's been actually very positive. Obviously, we had a quick turnaround last year on how we did things. We traditionally meet students in one-to-one and group activities, teaching in a room face-to-face, albeit we've always offered online support as well. Really, what we do now in terms of one-to-one, we do it over Microsoft Teams. There's other options we can do. We could use Skype for that as well, depending on the circumstances, phone calls. But we've just taken everything we have done traditionally, whether it's one-to-one, whether it's events, whether it's group activities, and we have just brought it online as well. Used interactive sessions online for workshops. It seems to work well, one-to-one over in a remote capacity. So we haven't really lost anything that we had before. Just that face-to-face, I guess, personalization, you get a little bit, but essentially we are running as we were before, and actually in some cases in a more positive way as well. I think certainly in terms of events, some of the events we've had over the last year have been fantastic online, and that's something I think we'd probably look to continue doing in the future.
That's great. The same in terms of academics, that it's yes, we all miss sort of having sort of people right in front of us in our classes for that sort of one-to-one contact, but by working online, we've been able to bring in more people from overseas to give talks to our students and to bring more people together. So there have been positives as well as negatives. Right, that's great. Any questions for Stephen from the audience?
Not at this moment in time, Peter, so
okay.
We can move on to the next session.
That's great. Thanks very much. Well, one of the things I enjoy most in my time as an academic at Dundee Law School and in my role as Associate Dean for International Affairs is engaging with our alumni, particularly people I've taught myself. So I'm delighted to welcome today one of our former students who's gone on to have a very, very successful career. That's Chidinma, who's going to speak to us today about her journey in going to the University of Dundee to do her LLM and then her subsequent success. So Chidima, could I pass on to you? Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about why you chose the University of Dundee to do your master's and then what happened afterwards?
Hello, everyone. My name is Chidima and I'm an alumni of University of Dundee. I currently work with the United Nations Environment Program as a project implementation consultant. And prior to that, I decided to go to the University of Dundee because it had a good rating for international law. And so I thought it was a good opportunity. And then it was in Scotland, and I had never been to Scotland, and I had heard so much about Scotland. So I was like, okay, it'll be a good opportunity to learn and also to learn about the city. So I applied and luckily got accepted. And afterwards, the program was really great. I got to learn a lot about international law and the UN legislations and conventions. So afterwards, I got to work with like human rights organization, an NGO in the United States, as a human rights campaign coordinator. And afterwards, I applied to the UN, to UNITAR, that's the UN Institute for Training and Research, and I got in for the traineeship program. So I focused on international law and then developed my career upwards and then to UNEP, where I currently work. So going to Dundee and studying international law has really helped me in terms of knowledge and then skills, and then living somewhere different because I got to adapt to the cold and to the mountains. And now I currently live in Switzerland, which is a bit similar to Dundee. So yes. That's
fantastic. Can I turn the clock back a little bit? What was your first reaction when you arrived in Dundee? Did you come straight from Nigeria to Dundee?
Yes, I did. I actually was in Nigeria and get and came to Dundee. Well, my first experience, it was like a small city. I was like, okay, and I didn't really like think it was nice because I think I came like when it was in the fall, so it was a bit, foggy and dull. But then afterwards, it was great.
Because where were you coming from in Nigeria? Was it from Lagos?
No. I come from well, I lived in Abuja, so I
In Abuja,
came.
okay.
Yes.
So, did you stay in university halls, or did you go for private accommodation when you arrived?
So when I arrived, I stayed in a private accommodation because I couldn't get the student one earlier. So I stayed somewhere close to the station, just Union Street, I think.
Okay.
That's called, yeah, very close to the station. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
finding
certainly
accommodation isn't a problem.
Yeah, that's certainly something that many of our, and in fact most of our LLM students say that they actually prefer private accommodation, and there's lots and lots of it really close to the university.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of adjusting to the way of learning at Dundee University and law school, how did you find that? Was it similar to what you had experienced in Nigeria, or was it quite different?
Actually, it was quite different because, like in Nigeria, they teach you a bit, but then in Dundee, you get to like do the research and like come to class with your knowledge and your questions, and then you kind of teach everyone what you learn, and then you have the professor or like lecturer helping you out with questions that you have that you came across when you were studying. So yeah, so it was quite different. Like, and I think I found it more interesting because then you get to like do a lot of research, so improve your research skills, and like then you can ask questions and get clarifications whenever you want. So yeah.
So did you enjoy the discussions that we had in seminars?
Yep, I did totally. It was so good to hear other people's perspectives and like the way the law applies in different countries, and this was something I didn't really know about. So yeah, it was actually great.
So in terms of obviously that for each of our classes, we always have a reading list, we have a set of questions, and we expect our students to sort of uncover the sources and indeed additional sources if they can. The legal databases that we use at Dundee Law School, were they similar to the ones that you use in Nigeria, or were those new ones that you uncovered for the first time?
A bit similar, and some were new, but yeah, I think the resources available were really great. And then I used the library a lot, so it had a lot of resources to use for school, and as well as like online. They had the online libraries that you could log in with the university. Yeah, so that was good as well.
So how did you find sort of striking a balance between preparing for your seminars, doing the assignments, and also exploring everything that Dundee has to offer and exploring the wonderful Scottish landscape? What sort of routine did you get into?
Well, it was easy to find a balance with work and school because the workload wasn't that much because it was a master's program. So if I remember correctly, I think we had like classes, you could take classes like 2 or 3 times in a week. So in between you get time to do like to explore the city, you get time to go out. And I remember we also had like the faculty, I think, organized like a trip for us to one of the castles somewhere, I forgot where it is, and that was really great. So everyone came together from different branches of law, wherever they're studying, and then we had a good time. I think we spent like a night or 2 somewhere out the field, so it was really great.
Yeah, that's sort of the annual reading party that we have at the Burn Country House. Which
Yeah,
is
exactly, that was it, the Burn, yes.
Yeah, it's a magnificent place.
Yeah.
Can I ask, did you join any student societies or any groups when you were doing your master's?
Unfortunately not. I didn't join anyone on campus. Yes, I didn't.
But I imagine you sort of enjoyed socializing with the other students on the master's program.
Yes, of course I did. Like mostly from the, I think the CMLP side, yes, because I had a lot of friends there. I had made a lot of friends from that side.
Yeah. So with the law school, we've got the Centre for Energy, Petroleum and Mineral Law and Policy. Both are very, very international in their focus and bring students together from all across the world. So Dundee is a very sort of international place. And also the law school, it's in terms of its faculty, it's probably even more international than when you were there. We have academics from every corner of the world now teaching on our LLB and LLM programs.
Yeah.
If I can turn now to your journey after graduating from the University of Dundee, do you want to tell us a little bit about your current job and what responsibilities that you have?
So currently I work on technical assistance on a project for funded by Norway. So we work with NGOs, civil society, then government institutions to strengthen their environmental management in the oil and gas sector. So I'm focused now on oil and gas and transitioning to cleaner energy renewables. So we actually do like trainings and capacity building and like give technical assistance to a couple of countries under the program. So it's not really exactly what I studied, because I studied like mainly international law, and then the environmental part I did was with law of the sea, marine law kind of. But yeah, it still helped me with the knowledge that I got. So it was actually good.
Which are the sort of the main skills you developed over your legal training, which you now employ in your current role?
I would say my research skills mostly, and drafting as well, because you had to do like a lot of research and communication as well too, because you had to do a lot of research and communicate with people from different parts of the world. Like I remember in my classes, I had people from almost everywhere, like every part of the continent, and I learned to develop my communication skills, my research skills, and drafting, and I apply them right in my current job. So yes.
I'm sure the sort of the people attending today and who will be joining online afterwards, I'd be really interested to hear what is a typical day for you at the United Nations?
Currently, there's the COVID, so a typical day I'll be at home and then I wake up and work from 9 to 5. That's how my typical day. But
or pre-COVID, or hopefully once the vaccination is rolled out more in Switzerland and you're back in the office. So how would your day be structured?
So pre-COVID, it was nice because you get to work with working with the United Nations is actually great because it's similar to school. Like the school prepares you for to work with work in a multicultural environment. So when if you get to work in the UN, you get to work in a multicultural environment, and then you get to work with people with different beliefs, people with different ideologies, and then you have to work in teams. So the university actually kind of prepares you for all this, so you can apply them when you start working. So my typical day is just mostly travel. So I had to travel to different countries to deliver trainings on environmental management. So mostly in Africa, Latin America, and Middle East. So that's how my typical day used to be in pre-COVID.
So in terms of the international engagement and the training that you undertook, which is your favorite country to work in for the UN?
Oh, interesting. My favorite country would be Lebanon, I think. They're having a bit of political issues, but I think it was a great country with great food and great people. So I think Lebanon would be my best country to work in.
That's great. It's definitely one on my list that I want to go to. I've not been able to.
You should. It's
get
really
there
nice.
Yeah. So in terms of thinking of the questions that sort of current students have And given that your success, what's the most important lesson that you have learned in terms of applying for internships, in terms of applying for jobs? What sort of the key things that a young lawyer, a young master's graduate should do, put themselves in the best possible position to gain a sort of foothold with an international organization?
I think Stephen mentioned something about volunteering. So like if you volunteer for like different opportunities, thankfully you could find one with the career service. I think that's one way. I would say you keep developing yourself, like keep looking for like courses. They have courses online, like related to something that you would like to do, like do like courses, like you can speak to career service in case you don't know what career path to take. You can do free courses, you can volunteer for like organizations, like because all those, when you add them to your CV, it helps you stand out kind of. So, and then you would also be like strengthening your skills, so it's a good opportunity to do that. So instead of just studying and just applying, it would be good to develop yourself as well so that you keep updating your CV. And I would say keep applying, never give up, like never say because there's COVID, because people are actually employing people, like they're recruiting these days. And thankfully it's more remote, so you can be any place in the world and you could work for any person. So I think you should keep applying and be positive and develop yourself as much as you can from all the courses online and everything.
That's great. And just one final question from me, and that relates to the future. What do you hope to do in over the next 10 years? Do you hope to sort of stay in Geneva? Do you want to stay at the United Nations? Do you want to go back to Nigeria?
Well, COVID has made us to never think about the next 10 years, but if we never have a pandemic again, I would probably go somewhere else. But I hope to like transition out of oil and gas to energy, to renewables, because I think that's where the world is going. And then mostly like technology law, that would be like what I would like to focus on, because of COVID, everything has gone online, everything's more tech now. So I think that's somewhere I like to explore, and that's probably where my next step would be. Probably I'll stay in Geneva or not, but yeah.
That's great. Thank you very, very much. That's so helpful that sort of to have these answers from you. Maybe I can pass over to Amy or to Stephen if you've got any specific questions, or if any of the audience have questions.
We have had some questions submitted in advance, so I will just direct some questions to who I think might be most appropriate. So one of the questions that we've had come in is, what recommendations do you have for me regarding a job search strategy? So this might be best for yourself, Stephen, and Chidimuna, you might have some input there as well.
Shall I go first? Yeah, so a job search strategy, I think that is quite personal actually. It probably really depends on your own situation, what kind of job it is and what you want to do, and that's something that you would be able to discuss with me, and we could be able to work through that. What I would say to anyone in any job search strategy is first of all, be quite self-aware starting off. Know your strengths. Know what you're interested in, because I think when you're going for a job, trying to find jobs that you would actually get up in the morning and want to do is quite important in terms of being able to walk into that and be successful. But be very clear about what you want out of a job as well. It can be things like work-life balance, salary, location, etc. But also, is it working with people? Is it helping people? Is it maybe working in an international context? And that will help you with the next step, which is the job search strategy, I think, is really exploring opportunities. I think Chidima mentioned lots about exploring there, and I've seen lots of transition in your career as well there as well. I think it's good to be curious about different opportunities, explore different opportunities. And I would say take some time to research these jobs as well. So in terms of your job search strategy, it's not really picking a company necessarily or a particular job. It's looking at that sector, building a picture of the sector. You mentioned renewables there, for instance. What kind of jobs are in renewables? There may be some you're not even aware of. Who works in that sector? and spend some time doing that research. Eventually, when it comes to maybe speaking about it more specifically, you can bring together your own self-awareness, your occupational awareness and what's out there, and that will help you make those informed decisions at the end. So that's a kind of broad brush approach, I would say, to this strategy. But just mention as well that we can think about where you might want to look for opportunities, but also as well be aware that some opportunities are not actually advertised, and you're going to have, they're hidden, and you have to go out there and be proactive, and we can kind of work with you in terms of how you go about doing that.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Chidima, I don't know if you have any input in there. How did you find your job search strategy after graduating?
Well, I just looked online. I was just applying online, and yeah, I just kept applying. And then, like I said, like look for courses to do that you might pay for, or you might have to, like, it might be free. It will just help you, because if you're fresh out of school and with no work experience, those will be helpful. Like volunteering and everything will be helpful for your CV. That's all I have to say.
That's great. Thank you very much. And our participants today, I mean, please do, feel free to unmute yourselves and you can ask any questions that you may have vocally. But Peter, a question that's come in that I would like to direct to you is, someone has asked if there are any internships as part of the law course. Is there anything that you can say about that?
Yeah, thanks very much. So two different strands to this answer. Traditionally, many of our students, once they've completed their master's program, do seek to undertake an internship, often with an international organization. And I know in my field of private international law, several of my students have been successful in securing very prestigious internships. One gained an internship at the Council of the European Union in Brussels. She did so well, she actually got a paid role with them afterwards. Another two have had internships with the Hague Conference on Private International Law, and one at the European Court of Human Rights. And each of those students found it tremendously valuable. And we give lots of support to our students in terms of applying for internships, in terms of the way the things they should address in their cover letter and their application form, and indeed in their CV. And many of my students reach out to me for advice on CVs and application letters, as well as to Stephen and the careers office. So that's one strand, trying to secure an internship with an international organization. Separately, for next summer, any student beginning their LLM this coming September, or indeed in January, will have the option of applying for an internship that we are organizing through a provider called Pagoda. We have got 15 paid for internships with companies in China, in Vietnam, in Mexico, and indeed in Manchester, England as well. And so students who are interested in doing one of those internships, they can do that in place of their dissertation. So instead of doing the 15,000 word dissertation, they would undertake the internship either face-to-face or remotely, and complete an internship report. And that would be for 8 weeks over the summer, July and August 2022. So they would do that instead of their dissertation. And we're really, really excited about this. Our business school has worked in conjunction with Pagoda for many years now, and the students have given fantastic feedback about these internships with key companies in these different countries. And so we're really excited to be running this next year for LLM students for the first time.
Thank you very much, Peter. And we have had a question come in from Rahit, and I hope I've pronounced your name correctly. And the question is, does the City of Dundee have a lot of companies, so law firms and industries, for an LLM graduate to find suitable opportunities?
Great, thanks, Amy. It's a really, really good question, Rohit. Yeah, Dundee, fourth biggest city in Scotland, it's got lots of law firms, and it's got sort of firms beginning to work in the area of law tech as well. So the law firms based in Dundee, they do Scots law. So because the LLM is very much international, and it's not sort of dealing with substantive Scottish law issues, not many of our LLM students, unless they have a Scottish LLB, would go on to work for one of the local law firms. Most of our LLM students who do stay in the UK and can take advantage of the 2-year visa extension that now exists, they'd be looking to work for major firms, perhaps in London or in Edinburgh, Some who want to work in the oil industry have gained positions with oil companies in Aberdeen. So we give students lots of advice as to where they should target their applications. Some do stay in Dundee, but most would be moving away to other parts of the UK.
That's great. Thank you, Peter. And another question that we have had come in is, could commercial law graduates intern somewhere as part of the course instead of a dissertation?
Yeah, so going back to my previous answer, so given the partnership that we're going to have now with Pagoda, that's absolutely something that our students on our International Commercial Law LLM or Corporate and Commercial Law LLM will be able to do from next summer. So anybody joining the LLM now will have this opportunity, and we have 15 places to offer to provide internships.
Thank you very much, Peter. I'm wondering, just based on one of the questions that we've had come in about key skills that they'll learn on the course, could you give maybe a roundup or just a summary of the key skills that our applicants will gain if they do join the law courses?
Absolutely. So transferable skills are central to a successful LLM experience. So as Chidima mentioned, when we begin the LLM, we've got a 2-week induction program. And that's designed to make sure that all of our students who come from all across the world, they have all the key basic skills to succeed and to achieve their full potential at a leading British law school. So we do lots of work then on research, getting all our students to understand and to be able to operate effectively different key websites like databases such as Lexis, Westlaw, Hein Online, and becoming efficient at these different legal research databases is a very, very important skill for any future lawyer. In addition, during the induction week, we also begin to work on legal writing, making sure that all of our students understand what's expected from legal writing in a leading British law school. So we do lots of work on that and continue to do that through the feedback that we give to our students over the course of the 6 top modules that they undertake, and indeed the dissertation. So research, writing, oral presentation as well. We do work on that. We do presentations in our different seminars. It's not sort of a traditional lecture format for the Dundee LLM. As Chidima mentions, it is very much a discussion. We want to provoke our students. We want them to present insights from their own sort of legal traditions and to engage with controversial issues. Because ultimately, and here is another sort of key transferable skills, we want our students to be able to analyze, not just to be able to parrot back what specific laws are, but to be able to identify what the strengths and weaknesses are of different legal positions, of different cases, of different pieces of legislation. Because that is the huge value of doing a master's in law, being able to critique, being able to have that sort of analytical brain, so that when you go back to the law firm that you worked for before, or if you get a new position, that you're able to be far more insightful and precise in the way in which you engage with topical legal issues. And the other key legal skill that I think is really reflected in the Dundee LLM, something I really emphasize in my classes, is being able to strategize. Because of the advances in terms of artificial intelligence, basic legal knowledge can be provided very simply, and indeed many programs can provide basic legal knowledge. The lawyers of the future, the lawyers of today, the lawyers of the future, their real value is in being able to give key strategic business-focused advice to their clients. So it's not just enough to say that the law of country X is Y, the law of country Z is A. It's been able to identify what are the strengths and weaknesses of using a specific law or of litigating in a particular legal system. How will taking advantage, thinking of my own subject, private international, how will taking advantage of jurisdiction in a particular forum really help my client secure his or her ultimate commercial goals? So whenever, take my own subject as an example, whenever I'm dealing with jurisdiction rules in the private international classes, I'm always getting my students to try and strategize, not just to reflect on what the rules are, but to try and put themselves in the place of a lawyer giving advice to a client, so that they can understand that whilst proceedings might be brought in a variety of different places, the greatest strategic advantage will be in bringing proceedings in one specific place. So it is this type of strategizing that is another key transferable skill from the Dundee LLM. So it's bringing together all those different elements, theoretical and practical, and most importantly, strategic. That's what I see as the huge advantage of the Dundee LLM. And of course, having lots of engagement from the academics, because we are a very student-focused law school, we're relatively small. And because of that, we're able to give lots of individual advice and attention to our students. We know it's a huge investment to come and undertake an LLM at Dundee, and we really want all of our students to achieve their full potentials.
I wonder if I could just add something to that as well, just on the skills, just some Chidima said as well, to add loads of the stuff Peter said there, absolutely, that's lots you can gain from it. But Chidima mentioned about being a multicultural environment, and one of the biggest transferable skills that employers today are looking for in graduates is multicultural awareness and languages as well. So in order to, I've talked before about standing out from the crowd. What can make you stand out from the crowd? And this is a global marketplace we work in now. And I think, as Chidima said, when you come to Dundee and you're doing the LLM, you are part of a multicultural environment. You are having to deal with different cultures and different ways people do things. That's going to set you in such a good place for when you go out into the postgraduate world. So that's another transferable skill that you will gain doing all that stuff, but within a multicultural environment. It's really, really important.
Thank you very much, Stephen. And sorry, Peter, just coming back to the internships, can you clarify for Rahit and anyone else who may be listening to the recording afterwards, do the students need to apply separately for the internships? Yeah, so this is organised, as I said, with our partner Pagoda Projects. So at the beginning of 2022, the application process will begin. Anybody from the Dundee LLM who wants to undertake an internship will apply through Pagoda. Pagoda will assess the applications in conjunction with myself and other colleagues at Dundee Law School, and we'll identify the 15 successful candidates who will undertake the internships either in China, in Vietnam, in Mexico, or indeed in Manchester. And those internships can be done face-to-face if travel is possible to those countries, or indeed remotely. And they've been operating remotely last summer and indeed this summer very successfully. Thank you very much, Peter. I don't see any further questions coming in at the moment. I will put Professor Peter McEleavy's email address in the chat function. So if you do have any questions that you would like to direct to him personally, then you can do. One final question that I think would be good to close with today, that might be good to get input from each of you, is what is the best advice that our applicants can walk away with today? What best piece of advice would you each give to them? Maybe starting with yourself, Peter. Great, thanks very much, Amy. So I think that the most important advice I would give to any applicant is to actually do your research to identify which is the law school where I'm going to fit in best, where I'm going to be happiest. Because if you go to somewhere that you're going to be happy and you fit in it and have the best possible experience, that offers you the greatest chance to be able to succeed when you're there. Because if you're happy, you'll be able to sort of concentrate on your studies, you'll be able to sort of take advantage of everything that the law school has to offer, and you're going to sort of really, really achieve your potential if you go there. So do lots of research, speak to lots of people about what the different law schools are like, what are their strengths, what are the weaknesses. Indeed, you're applying the skills you're going to develop when you come to a leading law school like Dundee. It's all about research, it's about analysis, it's about reflection. So give as much thought as you possibly can to deciding where am I going to fit in, where am I going to get the right level of support, and where am I going to best be able to fulfill my potential? Because it is a huge investment undertaking a master's, and you must make the right decision. So Stephen, you want to go next?
Yeah, sorry, yeah. So I think one big tip would be it's about getting involved while you're at university as well. It's an experience. It's a really exciting year if you come here. Your studies are hugely important. Outside of the studies, so think about what you can do to build on top of that as well, to build your CV, to build your employability. We mentioned societies before. Dundee has over 200 societies you can get involved in, including some law-related ones, including International Law Society, the Mooting Society, etc. There's a lot of stuff to get involved in. And it's about getting involved where you go to the university that you feel that is, knowing that Dundee has a lot to offer in terms of extracurricular activity. We've talked about volunteering opportunities. We run Volunteering Week at University of Dundee as well to help you get those opportunities to build that CV. And we've talked about work experience as well and how we can help you with that. So there's lots of things to get involved in. My tip would be when you come to university, work hard, work hard outside of it, or get involved with things. And I think as well, Dundee's, I'm sure Chidima would say as well, get involved socially if you can as well, because it's a really great place to be a student.
Thank you, Stephen. And Chidinma, any final words from you? What's the best piece of advice that you can give? You know, you've been through this whole process.
Yeah, like Peter and Stephen said, research and get involved. And you should also know that as a student, you have a lot of opportunities for you. So for example, international arbitration societies, they give like discounts to students. Like different like law societies have discounts for students. So I'd say take advantage of that opportunity, because then you get to join these societies at a cheaper rate than when you're like working.
Amy, you're muted.
Apologies. So I think I don't see any further questions coming in. Before we end the session today, I will just stay behind for a minute just to take note of any last minute questions that may come in. But Peter, would you like to say any closing words today?
Yep, thanks very much, Amy. So I hope you'll have seen from today that we are very, very much a student-focused law school. We really value the importance of employability. We work so closely with our career service and continue to have really strong connections with our alumni. So I think that if you've got any questions, if you're uncertain about where to study and you want to find out more about Dundee Law School, then please either ask Amy or indeed contact myself directly. We are very, very open. We're very approachable. So do your research, as I said. Ask as many questions as you like, and I wish you the best of luck in deciding where you want to study and ultimately in advancing your legal careers. So thank you very much for joining today, or for joining the recorded version, and I wish you the very best of success in your future careers.